Radar contact.
Welcome to the PLDC presentation on security features of programming languages. In the software industry, security is one of the major issues. Security is something that needs to be considered throughout the software development process. There are many ways to implement security depend on the programming languages. According to the McLennan, this is the definition for the security in programming language. Even though it's hard to specify that security is generally as secure program should disallow meaningless operations. Some of the common security problems in these programming languages are as follows. Throughout the following video, we hope to evaluate security features of C#, C, C++, PHP, Java and Python. Security features of C#. In this chapter, we are going to talk about the permission, type safety, security policy, principal, authentication, and authorization. We'll have a look at the security features in C#. C# allows us to define permission to control access to variables and operations. Another feature is type safety, which is controls access to memory locations. For example, a private field of an object cannot be accessed by another object. C# has a well-defined security policy which allows the runtime library to decide the amount of permission to grant of a code for a code. Principal. A principal is a user or an agent that acts on the user behalf of .NET. Framework roles based security has support for three kinds of principals. Generic principals represent unauthenticated users and the roles available to them. Windows principals represent Windows users and their roles, or Windows NT/Windows 2000 groups. Custom principals. Custom principals can be defined by an application in any way that is needed for that particular application. They can extend the basic notation of the principals, identity and roles. However, the application must provide an authentication module and types that implement the principal. Authentication. Authentication is the process of the discovering and verifying the identity of a principal by examining the user's credentials and validating those credentials against some authority. The information obtained during authentication is directly usable by your code. A variety of authentication mechanisms are used these days, many of which can be used with .NET Framework role-based security. Some of the most common use mechanism are basic digest passport operating system such as NTML or Kerberos, or application defined mechanisms. Authorization. Authorization is the process of determining whether a principal is allowed to perform a requested action. Authorization is generally occurs after authentication, and it uses information about the principal's identity to determine what resources the principal can access. .NET Framework role-based security can be used to implement authorization. Apart from that, there are many specifications and additional security tools.
Now we'll have a look at how access control is implemented in C#. Here we have a small program where we have a superclass called A and a subclass called B. We have overridden A's hello method in class B. In the main program, we have instances of both classes. If A's hello method is declared as public, B is allowed to override A's hello method. The program compiles without any errors, but thinks that we make A's hello method as private. B is not allowed to override. We'll get an error message like this. The same applies for protected. Again, we'll make the method as public. And now we'll see something specific to C#. Let's assume that we create an object of class B, which is initialized as an object of class A. Here we see that even though C is an instance of B, it runs A's hello method. This can be solved by using two keywords, virtual and override. Virtual in superclass and override in subclass. Now C will call B's method, which gives the expected output as this.